the Larry Hanfield Athletic Training Center on the campus of Bethune-Cookman University here in sunny Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm Nick Thompson. Welcome to the 2019 season opening version of the Wildcat Football Insider. And I'm joined as always by our head football coach, Terry Sims. 10 years here on campus at Bethune-Cookman University as a member of the family, but this is his 5th year as our head football coach. And coach, 5 years at the helm of the Wildcat football program, but 10 years on campus. Let's talk about briefly, before we get into the ins and outs of the program, let's talk about your 5 years at the helm guiding the program. How's it been as a head coach, and how's it been leading the program?
It's been great. It's been a long ride. It's been a fun ride. We've had some ups and downs, but the one thing that I can say that has stayed consistent is the treatment of the fans, the treatment of our true fans, and of our family here at Bethune-Cookman.
We managed to grab you right off the practice field here to do this show, Coach, and the Cats have been working extremely hard getting ready for the weekend season opener in Atlanta against Jackson State, and we've got so many good things happening. But Coach, before we get into the football program, let's talk about the family and your family. Over the last 10 years, you came here with 2 toddlers. Now you've got a daughter away in college and a son that's a senior in high school.
Yeah, they both were in elementary school when we got here, and like you said, I have a sophomore in college now and a senior in high school, and they have really grown up in Daytona Beach, Florida, and I couldn't be more thankful for it. And they're just happy to be from Daytona Beach here.
Well, it's so exciting when you talk about family. Your football team has managed to evolve into a family that prays together, P-R-A-Y and P-R-E-Y. And let's take a look now at the BCU Wildcat football team as they prayed together through the year 2018.
Hey, it don't change. Start fast, finish strong.
It's a new day of Bethune-Cookman University's changing landscape of bold leadership in business, education, research, and STEM, creating innovative ways for new Wildcats to change the world. Get ready, the tide is rising. It's time for you to catch the next wave in higher education at Bethune-Cookman University.
It's MEAC football season, and things are about to get wild. Could the Aggies bury the Bison? Or will the Bears make a run at the ratings board? Will the Rattlers strike before the Bulldogs bite? Will the Eagles sink their talents into the title, or feel the Hornets sting? Could the Wildcats wrap their jaws around victory, or will the Spartans win out in the hunt? It's the road to the 2019 Celebration Bowl. May the wildest team win.
Wildcats, let's go! Former BCU band members and athletes are hooking up to support BCU, and it's going to be powerful for the Wildcat Nation. It's the very first BCU athletic and band reunion lunch party at the DoubleTree Atlanta North Lake. Everybody's going to be there, including our new president, Dr. Brent Cright. Saturday, August 31st from noon until 4 p.m. at the DoubleTree Atlanta North Lake Alumni Headquarters for the MEAC Swag Challenge. Contact the National Alumni Association for more information on this historic get-together.
Welcome back to the Wildcat Football Insider. I'm Lynn Thompson along with Terry Sims as we get ready for the season opener this weekend in Atlanta, Georgia, the MEAC SWAC Challenge against Jackson State University. Coach, it's going to be an extremely tough football game, the kind of game some coaches like to open the season with a non-conference, very tough opponent. And you got to go in there full speed ahead, and I can think of no better leader than to have one guy back leading your program, and that's Arkevious Williams.
Whenever you look at Arkevious, and you can't really call him that too many times. He wants to be called Fat. That's his nickname.
But he's not fat.
He's not fat at all. He's 190 pounds.
Yeah.
But great leader. He's a vocal leader, but he's also a leader by example. He's a guy that's going to do things the right way.
The true definition of a dual threat or multi-threat quarterback, he can kill you with his brains, with his legs, and certainly with his arm, and he's done that to many opponents.
He has, and I think his time out last year, he worked a lot on the mental side of his game.
Yeah.
And getting more familiar with the offense, the new things that we have installed in our offense. And I think he'll have some great things for us this year.
Now, this time last year, everybody was still talking about Arkevious, but they were talking about another guy from Palm Coast, Florida. Haven't you heard about the guy by the name of Keyshawn Bird?
We have, and Bird is a very explosive, very energetic guy, and he got hurt last year, and that opened the door for another guy from Palm Coast to step on the scene, and that's Jimmy Robinson.
And Jimmy Robinson earns All-American accolades, and now you've got both those guys back from Flagler Palm Coast High School, two friends from the same neighborhood. Now they're going to be sharing the same backfield. And Coach, I guess it's a matter of pick your poison, but Jimmy Robinson is the true threat to break it from anywhere on the field. Both those guys from Palm Coast High School are sprinters. They can catch the ball out of the backfield, they can run it up the gut, they can turn the corner, and they're certainly dangerous on special teams.
They are, and Jimmy also lines up at receiver,
Yeah.
and he plays some receiver for us, so you'll see him everywhere on the football field, and he actually, had an opportunity to get on the field when Bird got hurt, being a kickoff return.
Yeah.
So we're just looking forward to Jimmy coming out and continuing to show us what he has in offense and on his special teams game.
But they can't open the holes themselves. So let's talk about that interior line.
Well, we have everybody returning on our offensive line except for Dwayne Brown. So you have Jamal Savage, Ladre Barnes, Nick Roos, who's a local product. You know, those guys are all coming back. Cedric Jackson will be a guy that'll play a lot for us this year. We moved Savage inside the guard. And, you know, really just looking at what we have coming back in Javon Camp. You know, Camp is a young guy, or was a young guy last year. Saw limited playing time, but he'll be one of the mainstays on our offensive line this year.
If you were to say you lost some excitement, it might have been out wide when you lost Malik Jackson, Coach, but you replaced him with some game breakers, didn't you?
We did. You know, losing Malik, you know, losing CC, those guys were definitely explosive. Kevon Mitchell has been a guy in this offense for 4 years.
Yeah.
Malik was a grad transfer. He came in and made his mark. But now coming back, you know, we have Darryl Powell, who's a young guy, didn't play last year, but he's going to be explosive. Jonathan Thomas is back. You know, we already spoke about Jimmy Robinson. And we also have a couple of new guys, new faces that I won't speak about right now. I'll wait until they hit the field and let the fans see who they are.
Well, you know, Coach, one name we didn't mention, the last time we saw Tupac Ismay, he was still running with the football from Orlando, 99 yards and counting, right?
Right, and you know, he is that type of football player. You know, and we look for a lot of big things out of Tupac this year. He's healthy, you know, coming out of camp, and we look forward to, you know, watching him run a whole lot of plays this year for our offense.
Before we go to break, Coach, if there was maybe 10 seconds for you to say how you broke camp from an offensive perspective, how do you think, in 10 seconds, you can sum it up offensively?
Detail. The guys were detailed. They were very focused when they broke camp, and I think, you know, they were together, and that's something that you want to see from your offense. You want to see guys being together and you know, all on the same page, and having an offense at this time of the year, being able to do that's big.
Okay, we'll come back in just a few moments. We'll shift gears and get on the other side of the ball, and we'll hear what Coach has to say about the Wildcat defense and how intimidating and destructive they'll be in 2019.
Hi, I'm Brent Crichton. What will we do to move the university toward greatness? To truly succeed, it takes sharp and up-to-the-minute skills, intercultural know-how, and leadership. As Mary McLeod Bethune knew, such ambitions will require a commitment that must be continuous. We will make the student experience the North Star for all our decision-making.
The new generation of BC begins with you.
It's MEAC football season, and things are about to get wild. Could the Aggies bury the Bison? Or will the Bears make a run at the ratings board? Will the Rattlers strike before the Bulldogs bite? Will the Eagles sink their talents into the title, or feel the Hornets sting? Could the Wildcats wrap their jaws around victory, or will the Spartans win out in the hunt? It's the road to the 2019 Celebration Bowl. May the wildest team win.
The Bethune-Cookman University 40 Under 40 Award, Friday, October 25th, 2019, at the Hard Rock Hotel. The doors open at 11:30 a.m. Young professionals making a difference. This is the premier homecoming event you don't want to miss. Come celebrate our young movers and shakers as they help raise $40,000 for the 40 Under 40 Scholarship Fund. The Bethune-Cookman University 40 Under 40 Awards.
It's a new day of Bethune-Cookman University's changing landscape of bold leadership in business, education, research, and STEM, creating innovative ways for new Wildcats to change the world. Get ready, the tide is rising. It's time for you to catch the next wave in higher education at Bethune-Cookman University. Welcome back to the BCU Wildcat Football Insider. I'm Lynn Thompson along with Terry Sims, the head football coach. And the Wildcat defense certainly came to play the last half of 2018, and they're going to be depended upon to really keep the offense in the football game. Coach, with an offensive unit that's run and shoot, but more importantly, hidden in that strategy is a ball control element, and dependent upon the defensive unit is their ability to take the football away from the opponents. Coach, sometimes we had some 3 and outs. You took some chances. With a veteran quarterback like Arkevius Williams, and we talked about him in the last segment, his ability to take some shots down the field, you're going to rely on your defense to really come up big in terms of making some takeaways, taking some shots, blitzes, and things like that. And I guess it really starts at the linebacking core, because you've got some game-changing, stellar athletes with some tremendous leadership ability. And let's start by talking about the middle of that defensive unit now, and those linebackers.
Well, you know, Devin James, he's definitely a guy, and Marquise Hendricks, those guys are both back from last year. Yeah. We added 2 more guys, Ontario Johnson, a junior college transfer, and Rashawn McNeil. Both of those guys are JUCO transfers. They came in the spring, gelled with our defense very fast. So now, you know, I would not hesitate to say that we have 4 linebackers that could step in and play at any time. I
never heard of a linebacker who had 4 interceptions in the spring game, and this guy comes on the scene from Mississippi and just he picked off passes. I mean, the referee threw a ball to the line judge, and he stole that.
Yeah, and he's from that Last Chance U football team. Very intelligent football player, plays the game hard, plays the game the right way, and always looking to learn, always looking to absorb something new from the coaches or from the players. So he's just been a joy to be around, and you know, he brings a great work ethic to a football team that already has one. So I think he's just upping our energy on defense.
Now, you're going to rely on some new names also on the defensive front, Coach. You're looking for some big play ability coming in. But let's talk about those guys, and then we'll shift gears and talk about the secondary. But your linebacking core, really, you're looking for aggressiveness, but more importantly, leadership and smarts out there, because they really have to really, I guess, coach the defensive line on the field.
They do, and they're making all the calls, and you know, I'm very comfortable with any of those guys in there because they're comfortable with our defense right now. And you know, you watch them in practice, you're watching them during camp, and they're making all our calls, they're making all the checks, and getting everybody lined up. Now, having guys like Marcus Ford, Uriah Gilbert, Jerome Howard, you know, those are all guys that are back from last year that are making a lot of plays in camp. And then you have Tony Bowman, who's another junior college transfer that's at defensive end. And, you know, he's a guy that comes off the edge, you know, that I think we've been missing.
Well, you know, Coach, everybody talks about the pick 6 in the Blue Florida Classic. But the unsung hero of that play was Marcus Ford, wasn't he?
He was. You know, when you go back and look at the film, Marcus Ford was there. It was a quarterback hurry. He made the quarterback get rid of the ball before he wanted to, and that allowed Ty Peters to step in front of that ball and pick it off and take it to the house to seal the game. So definitely our defensive front is always relied on, and you know, you think that you have our defensive front outmatched it sometimes, but they never are because they never stop playing, and that's the exciting thing about having these guys on our team, that they never quit.
The coach, they're fast, they can run.
They all can run, and even our 2 big guys in the middle, Uriah and Jerome, to be, you know, 300-plus pound guys, they can move. And I think they're bringing all of those young guys along with them. You know, guys that didn't play a whole lot last year, Rakeem Terry, Najee Young, Darius Clark, who all those guys are older guys that played some last year, but they'll have an increased role in our defense this year.
Let's go to the secondary.
Secondary, you have to replace Elliott Miller. And Elliott was a 4-year starter here, a guy that was kind of a staple in our program. You lose Kennedy and Dukwe, who was a guy that was a mainstay at safety. But you replace Elliott with Bam, with Jamari Laguerre, and Henry Miller's back. You have Sam Mark back. And when you look at the safety, we just started talking about Ty Peters, talk about Deron Maxwell, you talk about Vernon, and you have, I think, a host of guys that have experience that have played in the secondary and will continue to lead this defense in the future.
We'll come back in just a few moments. We'll talk a little bit about special teams, and then we'll talk about Jackson State this weekend in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. All that and more when we return. Hello, football fans. I'm Lynn Thompson. This is Terry Sims, and you're watching the BCU Football Insider here from Daytona Beach and Bethune-Cookman University. We're talking about the 2019 BCU Wildcat football season, and the season opens this weekend in Atlanta, Georgia. The Cats open against Jackson State University in the MEAC SWAC Challenge, brought to you by ESPN. Let's talk now about, we talked about offense and defensive units, Coach, special teams. Let's talk specifically about the kicking game.
Well, you know, Giovanni Francis and Uriel Hernandez, they have been guys that have been a part of this program for 4 years.
Yeah.
And they both did a great job, but they're gone. Yeah. And now we have Bryce Coward, a junior college transfer at punter, and Javier McDonald, who was a freshman, is our kickoff guy and field goal kicker. So 2 new guys in, 2 strong legs, 2 great guys, just ready to come fill some big shoes.
So, and they've got to not only fill the big shoes, but they've got to handle the pressure.
They do. And, you know, we won't play any games that they won't be nervous in this year. And I've already talked to them about it, and they're up for the challenge. I think, you know, watching both of these young men practice, they're ready to go.
One thing I saw in practice, Coach, both of those guys can do both things.
They can. They both can kick. They both can punt. And I don't think we'll have an issue this season with any of those, with kickoffs, with field goals, extra points, or punting.
One of the things you did struggle with last year, Coach, was on the kickoff side of things, inconsistency in terms of getting the ball where you wanted it, and sometimes when you needed it kicked deep in the end zone, it just didn't happen.
It didn't, and you know, that was just inconsistency, but looking at what Javier is doing now, he can place the ball wherever you want. He's a perfectionist, and he has a strong leg, a very big leg. He can get the ball in the end zone if we need him to.
Field position is going to be key for us from a defensive standpoint.
It's going to be huge. Anytime you can win the field position battle and your kicking game does that for you, you're putting yourself in pretty good situation.
Yeah, because last year a couple of times you talked about momentum, how we would come out and score and steal momentum, but then we would lose it on the kickoff.
We would, and you know, we can't have that happen to us.
Yeah.
We've talked to the team about that, and I think we're in a pretty good position right now to not have that happen.
Okay, speaking of kickoff, around the MEAC, the season actually kicks off tonight. with 3 games on tap. Morgan State is at Bowling Green at 7 p.m. tonight. Dale State's at Delaware, and that state rivalry is at 7 p.m. in Newark, Delaware. And right down the street, FAMU opens up at UCF at 7 p.m. That's going to be a big, exciting football game. Saturday, Coach, the rest of the league kicks off, and you've got Howard at Maryland. That's at noon from College Park. Wofford and South Carolina State in Orangeburg. That's going to be a great football game. Great. 6 o'clock. Elon and A&T, another one in Greensboro. That's going to be a great non-conference battle. Norfolk State at ODU, a hometown rivalry. And then, of course, Sunday we've got the stage by ourselves to do battle with the SWAC's Jackson State University football team, 3 p.m. from Georgia State. Coach, we got 30 seconds. Tell us about what you expect to do in Atlanta.
I expect us to start fast and finish strong. We've been talking to the team all camp about doing the little things, remaining detailed, paying attention to the little things in offense, defense, and kicking game. I think it's going to take us to be perfect in all 3 phases to win this football game, and I think the guys are up for it. They've been policing each other, policing themselves, just trying to do the little things to make sure we put ourselves in a great position on Sunday.
Well, the Cats are ready. What about you, Wildcat Nation? Hey, we expect for you to be there with us in Atlanta, 3 p.m. kickoff at Georgia State Stadium. If you can't join us, make sure you tune in on one of the platforms on the Cat Eye Network. We'd love to see you with us. For Terry Sims and the Wildcats, I'm Lynn Thompson. We'll see you Saturday. Sunday. It's actually Sunday, yo, not Saturday. Sunday.
You don't need time to relax. You don't need time to rest. When it's time for rest, it's on the schedule. That's when you need to rest. It's about being accountable, guys.